My wife didn't care that I was dying. She was angry that I was doing it at the wrong time. I don't even know how to start this. I'm not a writer. I'm 43 years old, I live in a suburb near Denver, and 3 months ago my life was completely normal. I had a job, a house, a mortgage. I had a wife, Emily. We've been together for 20 years. I thought we were solid. You know, us. A single unit. Then I went to the doctor for a cough that just wouldn't quit. Stage 4. That word isn't a word. It sounds like a heavy steel door slamming shut and locking. I'm just sitting there on this hard chair, the vinyl cracking underneath me, and the whole world just shrinks. It just squeezes down into this one tiny, bright, meaningless dot. I turn to look at Emily. My wife. My rock. She's sitting right next to me. She's holding my hand. But the grip is weak. I squeeze her fingers, hard. I'm trying to pull some strength from her. I'm looking for anything. She doesn't squeeze back. Her hand just lies there in mine, like a dead bird. She isn't looking at me. She's staring at the X-ray the doctor put up on the lightbox. At that dark, ugly shadow on my lungs. The doctor is talking. His voice is just white noise. I catch pieces. He's saying something about aggressive chemotherapy. He says we will start immediately. I nod my head like I understand. I'm not listening to him. I'm just watching Emily. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for her to turn to me, to look me in the eye and tell me that we will get through this. That she's with me. She never says it. She slowly, gently, pulls her hand out of mine. She rests it on her own lap. Then she looks at the doctor. Not at me. At him. She asks him what the survival percentage was. Her voice. God, her voice. It wasn't scared. It wasn't heartbroken. It was annoyed. It was the voice she uses when she's asking the mechanic how long the car repairs are going to take. I felt this cold wash over me. A real, physical cold that had nothing to do with the air conditioning. That was just the beginning. The drive home was silent. I was trying to figure out how to tell our 16-year-old daughter, Lily. I was trying to figure out how I was going to die. What was she thinking about? She just stared out the window at the mountains, her face like a stone. That night, I woke up at 3:14 in the morning. I don't know why. I was just cold. The bed was cold because Emily wasn't in it. I sat up. My heart was pounding. I heard a voice. A quiet, hushed voice from downstairs. From the kitchen. I got out of bed. My legs felt like they were filled with wet cement. I walked to the top of the stairs. I could see her silhouette in the dim light from the refrigerator. She was on the phone, whispering, and she sounded angry. I heard the name. Brian. That's her friend from yoga. The one she always told me was just a friend. I heard her crying. But it wasn't sad crying. It was angry, frustrated crying. I heard her say that this was an absolute nightmare. That she didn't know how long, that she just couldn't think about this right now. At first, my heart broke for her. I thought, poor Emily, she's just in shock. She doesn't want to cry in front of me. She's trying to be strong. And then I heard her tell Brian that this was just the worst possible time. I froze. Worst possible time? For what? I heard her say that she had a plan. That she was so close. And that now she was stuck. I stood there in the dark, shaking. The chill I felt in the doctor's office was back, but now it was ice. I don't know how long I stood there. 10 minutes. An hour. Just listening to her complain about how my sickness had ruined her plans. I went back to bed. I laid down on my side of the bed. I stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. It finally hit me. my diagnosis, my stage 4. It wasn't our tragedy. It was my tragedy. And for her, it was just a massive inconvenience. A logistical problem that was getting in the way of her leaving me for Brian. I lay there and I understood two things. 1. I have cancer and it's probably going to kill me. 2. My wife already thinks I'm dead. Update. Thanks for the comments. I don't know what to do. I haven't said anything to her. How can I? I'm sick. I depend on her for everything. Yesterday she was almost nice. She made me a smoothie. She asked how I was feeling. But her eyes, they're just empty. When she thinks I'm not looking, she just sits and stares at the wall. The look on her face, it's not sadness. It's anger. It's like she's mad at me for getting sick. I start chemo next week. I'm not scared of the cancer anymore. I'm scared of the woman sleeping down the hall. The next 3 months were hell. No, that's not right. The cancer is hell. The chemotherapy is torture. It's poison they pump into you to kill something else that's already killing you. I learned that on day 1. I lost my hair. I lost 15 pounds, then 20. I lost my strength. I became a walking ghost in my own house. I could barely make it up the stairs to get into the bed that still smelled like her. But the real hell, that was Emily. The day I got back from my first treatment, she was waiting for me with a stack of papers. She said that since I was sick, I shouldn't be worrying about things. She said she was going to take over all the finances. She said it with this fake, sugary sweet voice that just set my teeth on edge. She asked for my credit cards, just to manage the bills. I was too tired to argue. I gave them to her. That was the first mistake. Her help turned into cruelty. It was quiet at first. Passive. She would forget to bring me a glass of water. She would sigh, really loudly, every time I needed help getting to the bathroom, like I was doing it just to annoy her. Then it became open contempt. One morning, after a long night of chemo, I was throwing up. Just, non-stop. I didn't make it to the toilet in time. I was on my knees in the bathroom, heaving my guts out, just crying from being so weak. She didn't come in. She just stood in the doorway. I could see her reflection in the mirror. She wasn't looking at me with any sympathy. She was looking at the floor. She asked me if I could at least aim for the toilet bowl. She said she had just washed that floor. I didn't say anything. I just couldn't. Update. I don't know what's happening. She's become obsessed with money. I keep hearing her on the phone, talking loudly to her sister about the bills. About the insurance. About how my sickness is financially crippling the family. She says it just loud enough for me to hear. She wants me to feel guilty for being sick. She started demanding I do something. She said she can't be expected to do everything. She asked why I can't at least load the dishwasher. I tried. I stood up, got so dizzy from the weakness I dropped a plate. It shattered. She just looked at me. She told me I was useless. She leaves all the time now. She says she needs air. That she's going to see Brian, because he understands the stress she's under. She comes back late, smelling like wine and perfume that isn't hers. I just lie in bed, pretending to be asleep, and I just hate. I've never felt hate like this in my life. End of update. Everything finally fell apart last Tuesday. I was on the couch, trying to sip some broth. Our daughter, Lily, she's 16, she came home from school. She's the only good thing in all of this. She sat next to me and just held my hand. Emily came in. She didn't say hello. She threw her keys on the counter and just stared at me. She said the insurance agent called. She said they wouldn't cover the new experimental drug. She said it like I had picked it on purpose, just to cost her money. And Lily, she just snapped. She stood up. My quiet, sweet Lily. She told her mom to just leave me alone. She asked her if she couldn't see that I was sick. I've never seen Emily look like that. Her face just twisted. It wasn't just anger. It was pure rage. She turned on our daughter. She hissed at her. She said that when she, Lily, started paying the bills in this house, then she could have an opinion. Lily didn't back down. She told her she was being a monster. And that's when Emily said it. She screamed it. She screamed at Lily that her father wasn't just sick. She said he was a bankrupt. That he was ruining their lives. That because of me, they were going to lose this house. That I was a burden. She said that. While looking at her daughter, she called me, her sick husband, a burden. I just sat there. I watched them. And I realized what she was doing. She wasn't just leaving me. She wasn't just waiting for me to die. She was poisoning the well. She was turning my own daughter against me, so that when I was gone, she could tell everyone she was the victim. That she tried so hard, but I was just a bitter, useless, bankrupt man who ruined everything. She was rewriting our history right in front of me, and I was too sick to stop her. 4 months passed. 4 months of chemotherapy. It doesn't feel like living. It's just surviving. I don't look like myself anymore. I look in the mirror and I see a stranger. Bald, with yellow skin and eyes that have sunk so far back they just look like dark holes. But 2 weeks ago, something happened. A miracle, I guess. My doctor showed me the scans. He said the shadow, that dark, ugly shadow on my lungs, it was getting smaller. He said I was responding to the treatment. He used the word remission for the first time. Not cured. Not healthy. But remission. It's like getting a gulp of air when you're drowning. I held on to that word. I felt something warm come back into my body. It wasn't life. It was anger. Anger is great fuel. I started to feel a little stronger. Strong enough to walk around the house without getting winded. Strong enough to start noticing things. And Emily, she didn't notice. She was so busy playing the role of the martyr that she didn't see I wasn't dying anymore. She was still sighing. She was still on the phone with Brian, talking about how hard this all was on her. She was still complaining about money. Update. I don't know how to describe this. I thought I had already hit rock bottom. I was wrong. There is no bottom. Yesterday, she said she needed to go to her sister's house. She said she needed support. I knew she was lying. I knew she was going to see him. I waited until I heard her car door slam shut. I was alone in the house for the first time in months. I felt that spark of anger again. She had taken my phone, telling me it was so I could rest and not be distracted. She had taken my wallet, telling me it was to pay the bills. But she forgot about my old work laptop in the office. I walked to the office. My hands were shaking. Not from weakness. From rage. She kept saying we were bankrupt. She screamed at Lily that I had ruined everything. I opened our joint bank account. The same one she had shown me a month ago with tears in her eyes, to prove we were broke. It wasn't just empty. It was deep in the negative. Overdrawn. But how? My insurance was covering 90% of the treatments. My disability pay was still being deposited. Where was the money going? I opened the statement. I expected to see hospital bills. I expected to see charges from the pharmacy. I saw Gucci. I saw Louis Vuitton. I saw expensive restaurants in downtown Denver that I hadn't been to. I saw charges from spas. I saw hundreds of dollars in cash withdrawals. And I saw the transfers. Large, regular transfers to an account I didn't recognize. I scrolled back. Past the last month. Past my diagnosis. 1 month before. 2 months. 4. The transfers started 8 months ago. I sat there and stared at the screen. The cold I felt in the doctor's office washed over me again. But it wasn't just cold this time. It was ice. I understood everything. I thought she was leaving me because I got sick. I was wrong. She wasn't waiting for me to get sick. She just needed an excuse. My illness wasn't the tragedy. It was her get-out-of-jail-free card. The perfect cover to leave, take everything, and still look like the victim to all our friends, even to our own daughter. Oh, poor Emily, she tried so hard, but the grief just broke her. She wasn't cheating on me because I became a burden. She was cheating on me because I was boring. I was her reliable, stable paycheck, and she had already found someone more exciting. My cancer was just a convenient way to speed up her exit plan. She wasn't complaining that the medical bills were bankrupting us. She was complaining that the medical bills were cutting into her money. The money she already thought of as hers. I found the account number the transfers were going to. It was registered to her name. And to Brian's name. They weren't just sleeping together. They were building a life. With my money. While I was in bed, thinking I was dying. I just sat there in the cold office, looking at the numbers. I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel weak. I just felt that anger turn into pure, hard ice. She doesn't know that I know. She doesn't know what the doctor said about remission. I didn't close the browser. I hit print. I printed out every single statement for the last year. I put the stack of paper on the kitchen table, right on the spot where she always leaves her glass of water. And I waited for her to come home. I sat in the dark. The clock on the microwave read 10:17 p.m. I hadn't turned on any lights. I just sat there at the kitchen table. The stack of papers was in front of me, looking white in the gloom. I heard her car pull into the driveway. I heard the garage door open. A minute later, the key turned in the lock. She came in, and she was still talking on the phone. I heard her laugh. She was telling Brian what a great time she had. She walked into the kitchen, flipped the light switch, and she physically jumped when she saw me sitting there. Her irritation was immediate. She covered the phone with her hand and hissed at me, asking why I was sitting in the dark. She demanded to know why I wasn't in bed. I didn't say anything. I just stared at her. She rolled her eyes, told Brian she would call him back, and tossed her phone onto the counter. She started right in. The same speech I'd heard for months. How tired she was. How she had to do everything. How I didn't appreciate her. She walked over to the table, saw the stack of paper, and she actually laughed. It wasn't a nice laugh. It was bitter. She said, "Oh God, what now?" She figured it must be more medical bills. She said this was exactly what she was talking about. This mountain of debt I was dragging them into. I told her to look closer. Her hand reached out and she picked up the top sheet. It was her credit card statement. The one she told me she had closed to save money. She froze. The smirk just vanished. She flipped the page. She saw the charge from Gucci. She saw the charge from the Four Seasons in downtown Denver. She saw the spa days. She flipped another page. And another. At first, she tried to lie. She said those must be old charges. I told her to look at the dates. All from the last 3 months. Then she switched to anger. She started screaming at me. She asked who gave me the right to go through her things. She called me a spy. She said I was paranoid. She said the chemo was rotting my brain. I let her scream. When she finally ran out of air, I picked up the next sheet from the stack. It was the statement from our joint account. I didn't say a word. I just used my finger to point at the transfers. $1,000. $2,000. $5,000. Again and again. To an account number I didn't recognize. I asked her, very quietly, whose account that was. She was silent. The whole kitchen was silent. All that fake concern, all her playing the martyr, it all just evaporated. I was looking at my wife, and there wasn't a single shred of remorse on her face. Just pure, white, ice-cold rage. The rage of being caught. And then the doorbell rang. Just a normal ding-dong. Emily jumped like she'd been hit with a taser. She looked at the door, then at me, then at the papers. And I saw real, animal panic in her eyes. She lunged at me. She tried to grab the papers out of my hand. She hissed at me to go to the bedroom. She said we would talk about this later. She was begging me, just go upstairs. Now. It was pathetic. That's when I felt it again. That warmth. That anger. It felt like adrenaline. I stood up. My legs were shaking. The chemo doesn't just go away in a day. But I was standing. She tried to block my path to the hallway, still pleading with me not to open the door. I pushed past her. I didn't shove her hard, but she stumbled back, shocked that I had even touched her. I walked down the hall. Every step hurt, but I kept going. I got to the front door. I looked through the peephole. It was Brian. He was standing on my porch. Grinning. He had a small rollerboard suitcase next to him. He was here to pick her up. He was here to help her move out while the sick husband was passed out in bed. I opened the door. The grin on his face disappeared. He just stared at me. At this bald, skinny ghost in a worn-out robe. He couldn't speak. He looked past me, down the hall at Emily, who was standing in the shadows. He gave this nervous little smile and asked if she was ready. I didn't say anything. I just looked at him. And then I saw it. On his wrist. It was my watch. My Omega Seamaster. The watch my father gave me for my 30th birthday. The one that went missing from my bedside table 2 months ago. The one Emily said I must have misplaced. The one she blamed on my chemo brain. It was on his arm. I don't remember deciding to do it. I don't remember pulling my arm back. I just remember seeing that watch. I remember his stupid, smug face. I remember every time she called me a burden. I hit him. All the anger, all the humiliation, all the pain of the last 6 months went into that one weak, pathetic, real punch. I'm not a fighter. I hit him right in the nose. I heard a crack. He screamed and dropped to his knees, holding his face. Blood started pouring between his fingers. Emily shrieked. But she wasn't screaming my name. She was screaming his. I stumbled back, gasping for air. My knees gave out and I slid down the wall in the hallway. I sat there, just trying to breathe. I watched her. She ran right past me. She didn't even look at me. She dropped down to her knees next to him. I just sat there on the floor of my own house. And for the first time in 6 months, I could actually breathe. Update. They called the police. On me. They said I attacked him. The cops came. He went to the hospital, his nose is broken. Emily went with him. She never even looked back at me. They want to press charges. I don't care. Let them. I told the cops everything. I showed them the papers. I told them he was wearing my stolen watch. Lily is at my sister's house. The house is empty. It's so quiet. I don't know what happens next. But I know one thing. I'm not dying. I'm not their victim anymore. I don't know what this is, but it isn't the end. It's the beginning. A year has passed. I don't even know how to describe this past year. First, there was the court date. Yes, I was arrested after I hit him. Brian pressed assault charges. Emily, of course, she testified against me. She told the court how unstable I was because of the chemo. She said I attacked them for no reason at all. It was a lie, but it worked. I got a restraining order against me. I couldn't go near her. I couldn't go near Brian. And since Lily, my daughter, was living with her, I couldn't see her either. The divorce was fast and dirty. She used the assault charge against me. She got the house. She got pretty much everything. My lawyer told me we could fight it, but that it would take years. I was just too weak. I just wanted it to be over. I signed the papers. I lost the house. I lost my guitars. I found out later she sold them. I lost almost everything we had built over 20 years. But I didn't lose myself. Update. I moved to Boulder. I'm renting a tiny apartment. It's really just 4 walls and a mattress on the floor. But it's quiet. I'm clean. 3 months ago, my oncologist looked at my scans, then looked at me, and he said the word I was waiting for. He said recovery. Not remission. Recovery. The cancer is gone. I can't go back to my old job. My hands, they still shake from the treatment. But I found something. I'm teaching music at the local community center. Mostly to kids. It doesn't pay much. It's barely enough for rent. But I'm happy. I'm actually happy for the first time in I don't know how long. Something in me died back in that house. The naive part of me, the part that believed in forever. But the rest of me survived. I was sitting in a coffee shop, just drinking my coffee before work. My phone rang. It was Lily. My daughter. I hadn't heard her voice in 3 months. She was sobbing. I could barely understand her. She was begging me to come. She kept asking if I could please come and get her. I asked her what was wrong. She told me. She told me Brian was gone. He dumped Emily. It turns out, he had another woman. The whole time. But that wasn't all. Lily said he took all of her money. Every last cent. The money Emily had stolen from my accounts. He just disappeared. And Emily, she snapped. She started breaking dishes. She was screaming. She told Lily that they had to move. That Lily would have to get a job. And then Lily was crying so hard she couldn't breathe. She said Emily told her that it was all my fault. That if I hadn't gotten sick, none of this would have ever happened. I closed my eyes. The coffee shop was loud around me, people talking, but I didn't hear a thing. It was just that silence. The silence after the explosion. I told her I was on my way. I told her to pack her things. I walked out of the coffee shop. The Colorado air was just clean and cold. I saw my reflection in the window. My hair has grown back, a little gray on the sides. I didn't look like that ghost anymore. I'm alive. I'm still here. And she's left with nothing. Nothing but her own poison. I got in my car. I drove to get my daughter. That's the whole story. If you like this story and want to keep hearing more stories like it, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell, so you don't miss any new videos. Remember, your support is really important and helps this channel keep growing. So, what do you think? People always say the best revenge is living well. But sometimes, karma isn't about success, it's just a mirror. Emily got exactly what she gave. She was betrayed and robbed by the person she trusted while she was vulnerable. But can you really call this a win for James? He survived, but he lost everything he spent 20 years building. Is that a fair trade? Do you think him punching Brian was justified? Was it just weakness, or was it the first time he finally stopped being a victim? And what happens now to Lily, who's stuck in the middle of her mother's complete selfishness?